Welcome to the Beau Show, the home of faith, family, and freedom. 37 felonies. Those are the charges levied by the Department of Justice under President Joe Biden against former President Donald J. Trump. Was this a politically motivated move? Or is the former president guilty of hanging on to government documents? We will explore that today and hear from supporters and opponents of Donald Trump. On Tuesday, at the Wilkie D. Ferguson Federal Courthouse in Miami, Donald Trump was arraigned to face 37 federal charges, different from the state charges brought against him in New York under DA Alvin Bragg. This is the first time that federal charges have been levied against a former president. I traveled to the courthouse in Miami to see how the proceedings would go, since it was expected that demonstrators would be there, some supporting the former president and others who opposed him. First, let's summarize the indictment and what's in it. Judge Eileen Cannon, a Trump appointee, presided over this hearing Tuesday, just a day before Trump's 77th birthday. In all, the indictment alleges 38 charges, and Trump is named as a defendant in 37 of them. 31 accuse Trump of willful retention of national defense information. Each charge relates to a specific document. Two other counts separately accuse his aide, Walt Nauta, and Trump of false statements and representations. The remaining charges name Trump and Nauta, accusing them of conspiracy to obstruct justice, withholding of a document or record, corruptly concealing a document or record, concealing a document in a federal investigation, and a scheme to conceal information sought during an investigation. Trump pleaded not guilty to all 37 on Tuesday. Each charge carries with it a sentence of 10 to 20 years in prison. That could give him a potential sentence of something like 400 years. The indictment alleges that Trump improperly disclosed classified information to people who had no security clearance in the summer of 2021. An audio recorded meeting with a writer, a publisher, and two members of his staff allegedly captures this disclosure, in which he said that he, quote, could have declassified the document as president, but now he can't, unquote. This also involves scores of boxes stored at Mar-a-Lago, his Florida home. And allegedly, Walt Nauta helped move some of those boxes. Now, Trump points to a photo of boxes outside of the White House on his way out of the presidency, saying, there they were. No one seemed to hem and haw about them then. They saw what he was taking. But clearly what the government contends is that national security information is property of the U.S. government, and states that after his presidency, Trump is not allowed to possess or retain classified documents. Now, however, a former Trump lawyer has pointed out that past presidents have been allowed up to 2 years to comb through records for personal versus government materials. Also, the National Archives typically rented space for outgoing presidents to house their records while the weed-out process was going on. That did not happen after Trump's presidency. So, could this almost have been a setup? Did they know Trump was taking these documents so that they could sting him? Even the FBI told Trump to use a better lock on the door down at Mar-a-Lago when they visited, and they observed it months before the raid. Why would they do that if they thought the documents were being illegally held all along? How did they get the surveillance footage from Mar-a-Lago? And how does this compare with other former presidents who have had classified documents, some of which were in very unsecure places? Why is this the only president who is being raided and indicted? Do they think that Trump did this with criminal intent? Then why did they have a 2-year grace period of former presidents weeding through the documents, but not for Trump? It just seems suspicious. And now we know that former Vice President Mike Pence also had documents, and Joe Biden is under investigation by Special Counsel Robert Hur for possession of sensitive government documents while Joe was Vice President, and from his time as a senator. This means that Biden never had the authority to declassify any of these documents because he wasn't president at that time. Is this a two-tier justice system? Furthermore, the House Oversight Committee is probing a $5 million bribe scheme paid to Joe Biden when he was vice president. The document that the FBI has had all along with this information has been withheld from Congress and from the public until just recently, after strong pursuit by Comer's committee. And the FBI Deputy Director, Paul Abate, couldn't even say whether he would turn it over to the Senate when Josh Hawley asked. Is the timing of the news of this bribery scheme also conveniently happening as Trump is appearing for his arraignment? These are all questions that have to be asked, and questions that I wanted to ask Trump supporters and opponents near the federal courthouse in Miami. I first found a few men of Cuban descent. Cubans are very populous in Miami, and many of them know all too well the perils of communism, a mere 90 miles away from Key West. They fled to the United States to find that some elements of our American government remind them of communist Cuba. So I spoke to Peter and Damien, two men who support President Trump.
All right, so we are down here at the federal courthouse where Donald Trump was just arraigned. He's been indicted. Sir, what is your name?
Peter.
Peter, and you, sir? What's your name?
Damien.
Damien. Peter and Damien. Tell me why you guys came down here today to the courthouse.
Support, 100%.
And where are you from?
I'm Cuban.
Cuban. So let's talk about the fact that, you know, Cuba, of course, has experienced decades of communism. Do you see some of that communism coming in the United States now, and how does that affect your support of Donald Trump?
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, sure. So, Cuba has experienced, obviously, a lot of communism, and so what I want to know is what you think.
Okay, traducen, speak English. Okay. Todo lo que estamos aquí, estamos en support a nuestro presidente Donald J. Trump, porque injustamente esto se llama cacería política.
This is called politician. So I forgot that word.
Persecución político, okay?
Political prosecution. Yeah.
Estamos defendiendo a nuestro presidente Donald J. Trump, porque es una injusticia que no es buena. Solo el Departamento de Justicia está corrupto y las leyes judiciales están solamente para un lado, para la parte demócrata, y para la derecha no hay justicia.
And the DOJ and the government, Biden is on the left.
Todos sabemos que Biden es un corrupto, que tienen evidencia de cuando él era vicepresidente de Obama. Constitucional no tenía derecho a llevarse documentos y lo hizo. No hablan de él, nada más que es Trump, el hijo de Biden, todos saben que es un corrupto.
¿Piensas que el sistema de justicia es el mismo para Biden o Trump?
En este momento no. El Departamento de Justicia está corrupto. No hay justicia para Republican. Para demócratas sí lo apoyan, para nosotros no nos apoyan. Entonces, en este momento no hay ley de justicia.
¿Piensas que el Donald Trump es inocente o culpable?
Inocente 100%.
100%.
¿Pienso que el Donald Trump es mejor después de esto o menos? Más fuerte.
Va a ser más grande y más fuerte.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
En estos momentos, la gente no quiere entender que esto le está dando más fortaleza a él. Y ahora mismo él está en los números de la encuesta, él está número 1, number 1, está en la cima. Y él, eso le está dando más fortaleza a él, a que crezca más.
¿Piensas que Biden es making los Estados Unidos más como comunismo en Cuba?
Comunismo.
¿Cómo? Dices, ¿cómo?
Ok. Todos sabemos Biden es socialista o comunista. Mira lo que está pasando en Cuba. China espiando a Cuba, 90 millas. Y Biden y la administración de Biden no está haciendo nada, están calladitos. Cuando tuvimos el globo de espía, pasaron días y días y le decían, ¿qué usted piensa hacer? Túmbelo. Tuvieron que esforzarlo, agitarlo para que tumbara el globo cuando se metió semanas, 10 días, 15 días. El globo chino de espía. ¿Y hasta dónde, hermano? ¿Hasta dónde vamos a estar con...
¿Tienes miedo de China?
¿Ah?
¿Tienes miedo de China?
¿Tienes miedo de la China?
Yo no siento miedo. Esto es una potencia grande. American Freeze. No siento miedo.
¿Piensas que Donald Trump es el mejor presidente en el mundo?
No lo puedo. Bueno, millones de gente lo miran así. Millones de gente lo miran así. No solamente de aquí. De afuera lo quieren. Mucha gente lo quieren, lo adoran. Porque él se ganó el carisma de las personas. Él se lo ganó. Y es bueno. Es un bueno. Yo voy a hacer la pregunta ahora. ¿Qué necesidad tienen de estar pasando todo esto? Cuando la edad que tienen, pudiera estar tranquilo con su familia, sus nietos, su familia. O sea, está tranquilo y mira todo lo que está pasando. Juicio, corte. ¿Qué necesidad tiene él? Ninguna. No sé, ¿por qué está haciendo esto? Porque ama la patria, ama a nuestra nación, quiere América, quiere la bandera. Y la gente no mira eso, hermano. No lo miran.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
The percentage of Trump supporters at the courthouse compared to his opponents was probably 95% to 5%. Not many came out to protest him, but there were a loud few. I stumbled upon one such clique that had some very outlandish signs, and I spoke to Keith, one of those in their posse.
Tell me why you came down here today to the courthouse.
Because I wanted to stand up for the average American, to stand up against President Trump. I'm not afraid of the Proud Boys. I'm not afraid of these crazy GOP people. I just came out to protest.
And are you protesting the fact that the president is, obviously you're in support of the fact that he's been indicted, correct?
I am in support of that.
Do you think that the charges are legitimate?
Absolutely, I think the charges are legitimate.
Do you think he will see any jail time at all?
I don't think he should see jail time. I just think that he shouldn't run for president. I don't think that any president should be put in jail ever.
Oh, so you're against him being put in jail, you just don't want him to run again, is that correct?
Exactly. I don't want him to go to jail.
But the Constitution says he could, of course, continue to run.
Exactly. That's the country we live in.
I've got a question. Do you think, just in the 4 years that we had of Donald Trump, and of course now we've had about 3 of Biden, do you think the plight of African Americans is better or worse under Trump versus Biden?
I think the plight of Americans are worse now, not necessarily because of Biden, just because of the economics of supply chain and COVID. So I don't think that Biden is responsible for that. I just think it's a happy accident.
But specifically with the African American community, how do you feel they did under Trump?
I have nothing to base that on. My situation did change under Biden or Trump. So.
Okay. And do you think that there is a two-tier justice system? Do you think that other presidents, let's say like Biden, whether it was Obama, Clinton, Bush, should face the same types of charges that Donald Trump is? Do you think it's one-sided or political at all?
I think that if a president refuses to give documents back when they ask for them, they should be arrested. As far as I know, that hasn't happened with Trump, with Biden or Hillary.
But when she had her server, her private email server, and she had those classified documents, do you think that she should be indicted for something similar?
That's a good question. Maybe.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Keith caught me off guard a bit. I expected him to wish to see Trump go to jail. But instead, he didn't think that any president should ever go to jail. He just didn't want Trump to ever run again. So it was more really about his candidacy than anything else. And I felt Keith gave an incomplete answer about the plight of Black Americans, who undeniably experienced record low unemployment in the Trump years, and even opportunity zones. But Keith also showed logic when I gave him the comparison of Donald Trump to Hillary Clinton's 30,000 emails that got acid washed from her private server. We know that many of those emails were classified, and she had no power to declassify them. So, why isn't she being indicted? You have to ask these comparative questions, because this prosecution and focus on Trump is historic and unprecedented. And it also seems that the end game may not even be to get him behind bars, as much as his foes may like that, but rather to keep him embroiled in endless legal battles, which will tie up his time so that he can't campaign. It's a way of handicapping his effort, just like the Russia investigation was designed to dog his entire time in the White House. This indictment was more serious than the New York hush money payment, but still, it's more legal battles. It seems that his opponents want to drive a wedge in the GOP so that eventually GOP voters may say, well, he's so bogged down, we might as well not vote for him at all, or we'll vote for someone else. I met a lady named Myra, an immigration attorney, a Trump supporter, and the so-called nodding lady at the recent CNN town hall, nodding positively at Trump's statements. So I asked her some of these questions as well.
We have a lady named Myra that would like to join me now. Myra, please come in. She's with Women for Trump. Myra, how are you?
Very good.
Where did you come from today?
Because I support Trump, and as an attorney, I'm an immigration attorney, I know when the justice system can be manipulated to attack one of our own. And when I say our own, I'm talking about an American citizen. We cannot use our laws to attack an American citizen, let alone somebody who has been a president of the United States, and he did it dignified.
Talk about that two-tier justice system since you are an attorney. You know, it seems that it is one-sided when the Biden DOJ goes after President Trump but does not go after any other president. Do you see it as being lopsided?
Oh, absolutely. Lopsided, it will be an understatement. This is in-your-face total corruption. We don't know how many ways we can describe Banana Republic, but this is one. 35 some counts in New York. Some counts that they're cooking in Georgia, some other counts in Washington, D.C., and now they're bringing this circus here to Miami just with what? How many? 107? They're talking about things like if he gets convicted, he can face 100 years in jail. Barr came out and said, like, oh, if some of these stick, Trump is toasted. And we have people like Rachel Maddow saying that, oh, now we're really going to get it because the bottom line is getting Trump off the ballot. And that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. They have cried wolf so many times, and then they want to try and pin on Trump the same crimes that Hillary Clinton had committed. And James Comey said, this is unprecedented, which means nobody has done it before, so they are not going to do it. But yet, they are bringing case law to see how they can tailor a crime to the person of Donald Trump just to make him get out of the race. And that's been done by rhinos and Democrats together.
And finally, do you think that the timing of this is interesting since it's tied also to the $5 million bribery scheme that's coming out?
Well, this is one other thing. What's the best thing? What can they do to take all the oxygen out of the media and cover the real criminals, which is Joe Robinette Biden and his family? When are we going to see something related to bribe money, millions of dollars? Even the grandchildren are receiving money from China, Ukraine, from Romania, from Russia. What is happening here? What is the money coming from or going to? So that's the real crime right there. We are here, yeah, all the media all across the United States and the world are here, but we are going to see this day as the most infamous day, and the Democrats and those rhinos, you are going to pay the price, honey.
Thank you, Myra, and back to you guys in the studio.
Finally, I encountered a man walking around with a jail suit on and a plastic ball and chain, like he had ordered it right out of Amazon for Halloween. His sign that he had said, "Lock him up," as a counter to Trump supporters who had previously chanted, "Lock her up," referring to Hillary Clinton. I felt that this man, Dominic Santana, might be able to explain why he had come to the courthouse and what he hoped to accomplish. Listen.
I came across a man, gentlemen, what is your name, sir?
Dominic Santana.
And Dominic, tell me why you came down here to the courthouse today.
Well, I grew up in New York, and I know a con when I see it. And before he was elected, we knew he was a graduate rat from the School of New York with a degree. And he's gotten away with conning the world. He should have been locked up before he became a president. And then after presidency, I don't need to tell you how many times he's gotten away with it. Remember, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. Just find me 11,001 vote. Come on, enough is enough. Who are we kidding? Let's call a spade a spade. The guy is a con artist.
And you were telling me earlier that when the president came in his motorcade, you tried to jump over the barricade to get him. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And what were you hoping to accomplish? And tell me what happened in that.
Jump in front of hopefully the vehicle that he was traveling, which was the second Tahoe or Suburban, whatever, you know, those black big things. He was in the second one.
And what happened? Did they tackle you?
Yeah, I was attacking the first one because I broke the line, and then I had like 20 cops just jump on me, and I'm like, okay, guys, don't be rough. I'm just exercising my right. I wanted to get some attention, and I did, and I've gone viral a couple of times already since last night when I did that in Doral, when I greeted him last night. I greeted him last night, and I greeted him today, and I want to catch him on the way out.
Dominic, I got to ask you about, do you think that there's a two-tier justice system? You know, you've seen that, of course, you know, Trump is being indicted for 37 counts for these documents. Do you feel that Joe Biden, in an equivalent sense, has done anything similar in hiding documents or even the $5 million bribery scheme? Do you feel he's at fault at all? Or even Hillary Clinton, for that matter?
Listen, it's a rat race out here. They're all rats, and they're all guilty. That's the facts. And this is the circus, and here I am today with a costume as one of the, and it's like he's going to get away with it.
You do think he'll get away with it?
Absolutely.
You don't think he'll see any jail time?
Maybe house arrest, and let's hope it's not the White House.
But do you think he actually still has a chance of winning and beating Joe Biden in 2024?
He said if he wins, he could serve from jail. So he's setting that up already, you know, and this is all political. He has his spin ready. Let's come on.
Do you think it was political to attack him in the way that this happened at this particular moment?
No, it's been cooking. It's been brewing. It took this time for it to brew.
Do you have a candidate you do want to support in 2024?
None. We don't have anything. We don't have anything.
Thank you, Dominic. Appreciate your time.
What surprised me is that Mr. Santana admitted to trying to lurch in front of the Trump motorcade earlier that day, but he didn't get arrested. He claims to have a right to do this, which he says is greeting President Trump. But lurching in front of his SUV is not a right. It is a danger to the president and to himself, since it's usually a high-speed caravan. Mr. Santana said he wanted attention, and he certainly got it. But no more than 30 minutes after my interview with him, he got tackled and arrested. Watch.
Service, look at that. Oh, oh, oh! Whoa! Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Secret Service. Stay away from the car. Stay away from the car. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. People are chasing the car. Secret Service is running. Yep, he's in handcuffs. The guy that rushed the motorcade is in handcuffs.
Do not take the bait! Do not take the bait!
He got his wish, apparently, but he had conspired to do it. This clip went viral across the world in media, and upon release, he told Telemundo his story.
Dominic Santana, de 61 años, salió libre tras pagar una fianza de $2,000 luego de saltar frente a la caravana del expresidente Donald Trump cuando salía de la Corte Federal tras declararse no culpable de los 37 cargos de delitos graves por presuntamente llevarse documentos clasificados de la Casa Blanca.
Dios mío, mi hermana, oye, no fue fácil, no fue fácil. Yo el día entero me estuvieron escupiendo, dándome con las banderas de Trump.
I think Telemundo portrayed Mr. Santana as the victim, which plays into his story. He's saying it wasn't easy. Telemundo did not interview Mr. Santana before his arrest, as I did, so they are getting an ex post facto take. It lets him control the narrative. Also, if you look in this video from their coverage, you can see Mr. Santana in an argument with my previous interviewee, Damien, the Trump supporter. Both Damien and Mr. Santana are of Cuban descent.
Váyase para Cuba, señor. Afuera, afuera. Llamándome un comunista, llamándome todo, y yo ahí defendiendo el derecho que yo tengo, gracias a Dios, que estoy en América.
The arrest report states that the defendant's actions in disrupting the caravan endangered the life of the former president. So, Mr. Santana is incorrect in his rights. He has a right to protest, but not a right to endanger a president's life or others. That's the mistake he made, and he knew it in advance. Where Mr. Santana is correct is that he has a right to protest because he's in America, not Cuba. He takes that right for granted. What is perplexing is why a Cuban like himself, who understands communism, would be upset that another Cuban would call him a communist. But here's another wrinkle. When I tried to post my interview with Mr. Santana and his subsequent arrest on Instagram, the app prevented me from doing so. A message popped up reading, "Try again later. We restrict certain activity to protect our community." Now that's odd. First off, who is we? And second of all, what community are you trying to protect? If I'm doing my job as a TV host and a journalist on the ground and accurately portray Mr. Santana's words, and then footage of him being arrested for jumping in front of Trump's motorcade, what or whom needs protecting? I'm giving the world the truth. I have asked for an explanation and have not received one. It took me over an hour to finally post the interview clip, which you can see on my and Epoch Times' Instagram pages. But it really begs bigger questions. Why did the police not have an eye on Mr. Santana if he had already pulled this earlier? He strolled about freely without any warning, that I could tell. It seems that he wanted to play the role of agitator. He even referred to stirring up the hornet's nest, likely hoping that he'd be assaulted, and maybe the motorcade stunt was an attempt to get hit by the SUV to be able to sue. But because I was interested in the media coverage of this event, Telemundo took the bait. They allowed Mr. Santana to play the victim card, especially since Mr. Santana is a native Spanish speaker. But I want to give you the truth. Telemundo had a chance to talk to him before he did all this, but they didn't. They gave him the attention that he sought to become a martyr. I wasn't interested in giving him his 15 minutes, but rather to find out why he'd taken time out of his day to come protest in the heat, in costume, and the nature of his opposition to Donald Trump. And this question remains: why was social media, Meta in this case, censoring my content? What is it that they didn't want the world to see? I saw other footage being posted of Mr. Santana getting tackled and arrested, but why not my interview? Is it because he was stating his premeditation? Is it that he makes the left look bad? Meta still has many explanations to give when reporters are out there trying to give you the truth. Roman Balmakov and I were walking through the crowd, finding voices for and against Trump's indictment. I certainly found two of each. All of them were courteous to me and willingly provided their feelings. I have not edited their statements at all. But if we in media are to do our jobs properly, we have to be given the tools that we need to reach people. Otherwise, our rights in the press and in terms of free speech are being abridged. I'm Beau, and that's the show.